So we have some special people with us tonight. First of all, the director of this movie, Joanou. We have Buddy Rebel himself, Richard Tyson.
Oh my God!
Wow, that energy.
And this next man, you cast him in your movie because he makes your movie that much better.
Yes.
Philip Baker Hall.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So-
I just can't do that. Mr. Rourke.
So Phil, when did this was your first feature, so can you talk a little bit about how you first got the script, how this was set up, how this became your first feature?
I had made a short film at USC, and I got lucky enough to direct Two Amazing Stories, that TV series that Steven Spielberg did back in the 80s. And
Is he here tonight?
Yeah, he's coming. He's any minute. He should be here any minute. Yeah.
Stuck in traffic.
Yeah. He's choppering in, so yeah, so he should be here. But no, and after I did those two shows, he gave me the script, and he said, look, Universal wants to make this, and I think it should be your first movie. And it was called After School, the original title. And I read it, and my short film was actually a high school movie. And so, this is how naive my thinking was. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get pigeonholed as the high school movie guy.
No shit.
Yeah. So I was all worried about it, and I said, oh, thank you, and I went home and I read it and I liked it, but I was overthinking it and I was so nervous, and so I told him I don't think I should do another high school movie because it's all gonna be. And he just looked at me and said, what? No, really. We're asking. You can direct this movie. It's a movie. You can do. Like maybe I didn't understand. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I thought I was just supposed to read it, or I don't know, write up a report on it or something. I said, oh, yeah, and I was all anxious and worried and uptight. And so then I said, oh, okay, yeah, I don't know. I said, okay, and I can tell he's looking at me like, oh my God, this kid's an idiot. And I kind of slinked away, and I went home and I thought about it, and I remember laying in bed going, oh God, what have I done? I just turned down a movie, and my first opportunity to do it, and so
Spielberg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Spielberg. Yeah. So I don't know what I was thinking, and it's just because, and I don't know. I was just really nervous. The idea that it was happening so fast, and I just, and so the next morning I went in like at 8 o'clock, and I sat there waiting for him to come. And because I was so worried he'd gone on to someone else. I was always like, well, we'll get somebody else. Just get another guy. And then it was already over. So anyway, that morning I trapped him, and I said, I'm so sorry, I went crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. Please, I'd love to do it. He said, oh, great. And that was, back in the day, he and Sid Sheinberg, they just would say okay and make a movie. And and we made it for, it was a $5 million budget, and shot it up in Ogden, Utah.
That's
Yep,
right, yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, he saw it like 225 different high schools or something.
We did. We looked at high schools all over. I mean, we had scouts look all over and over the country. And but I ended up picking that one because of its kind of gothic, kind of the gothic qualities of the exterior, and I wanted to make it like he was trapped in this kind of house of horrors of sort. I mean, on the in a comedic sense. And so anyway, we ended up over there. And we shot it in 33 days in Ogden. Wow. So that was that.
So Richard, how did you first hear about 3 O'Clock On?
You know, amazing enough, from an agent. It was a long process for me. I think there were like 14 callbacks total.
Yeah.
By the time I ended up getting in.
Well, you know, the thing is that
You
know,
wanted to
Steven
get-
was very involved. You know, so I'd do auditions.
Never met him.
Yeah, no. I saw you on tape.
Yeah, I hear you love me. Yeah. Set up that meeting, will you?
Yeah.
Rough crowd.
Yeah. So I'd have to audition, and do, you know, and I would get notes and then go back and do more. Remember, it went on and on and on.
Yeah.
14 callbacks?
Yeah, the best act. I was living in my truck too, right? And so I'd leave. I go, okay, haven't decided yet. Okay, I'm just gonna walk over here, get my Porsche, and go up to Malibu and kick back. Once I got home, well, as soon as I got to the truck, I was home. And the guys at Universal, they were like, all right, dude, you were here last week, man. You gotta leave this time. You know? But yeah, you were looking for Jerry Mitchell first, right?
We were, yeah. Yeah,
We
Jerry.
went to New York and all
Yeah,
that.
we did. And yeah, the Jerry search went on and on and on too. There were huge open calls, and so it was just a long, drawn out thing, for whatever reason.
Stalling because you didn't want to get pigeonholed, or?
See, what's funny is
Not see?
no. See, it's funny because in my recollection, I remember the first time he came in to Nancy Nair's office at
Right.
Universal, and you just finished school, right? How did you just?
That's right. It's my first movie out of Cornell.
Out of Cornell, exactly.
I can't imagine that. I taught beginning acting for the master's program up there, and I never met a student since then. But I just wanted the very next year they see, buddy, that was our professor at Cornell, that guy. Funny.
Yeah, well, see, because I remember his very first audition and going, he's the guy. I mean, the very
Oh,
first
really?
time. Oh, yeah. Because
Let me hanging for. Hey, it's business.
It wasn't all me, but no.
but
What
I
it was
convinced him.
Jerry. A lot of it was who's going to be with Jerry. It was
But
the
you knew.
combination. Oh no, I remember the room. I remember where I was sitting. I remember you coming in, and I remember you scaring the crap out of me. I remember you came in. You were into it.
Oh,
he was
good.
full blown like method into budding. And Nancy was like, "Well, he seems a little crazy. We may need to want to see some other people."
I think I got
A little crazy. And I was like, yeah, like, buddy. I mean, he scared the crap. I mean, literally, we were both like, okay, that's great. You can go. You can go. And so it really was, I think, more a function of the combination of casting, because there was never anyone close, not even in the running for Buddy, at least in my mind. But I remember really the Jerry thing is what took up a lot of time. So I think he kind of got dragged along with that. Remember we had to audition with guys.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You came out back and
Bunch of guys.
yeah, a bunch of Jerry's. So, the reason he had so many is he had the gig. He just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Because
great.
you kind of can't say,
Great
well,
life, that acting.
yeah. So he was, I remember, it was like never even a contest between, it was like, oh, it was him and three other guys. It was just him. So, and you see the movie and you know why. I mean, he comes on the screen and it's just like, holy crap. I mean, just from the very first shot to your very last smile, which I have to say, I haven't seen it in a long time. That little smile.
Yeah.
Is it even a smile?
Yeah.
What is that he does at the end?
It's the smallest smile in cinema
Also,
history.
yeah, exactly. I think there's a smile in there.
Yeah, my brother. Yeah, he said there was one.
Yeah, it's good. He'd know. Anyway, I mean, isn't it true? I mean, and of course, the same for Philip. I mean, we were so lucky. I mean, I always felt bad because once we had him, I wanted like to start like write more scenes and put, we needed more Detective Mulvihill in the film. And seeing the film tonight, it's funny. Even if you hadn't been here, I mean, it's obviously your career was already going great then, but then the incredible work he's done since. I mean, unbelievable.
I just saw Argo the other night.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to say something that it has to do with the film, but it doesn't. John Patrick Ryan, who plays the principal in the film, John and I were extremely close friends in New York as young actors. We did probably altogether 10 or 11 plays. We did a half a summer at a at a summer stock company. We were a number of places off Broadway in New York. We were really tight buddies, very close friends. And I had at one point, to help my financially keep going as an actor in New York, I had a small market research thing that I used to do. And for a lot of companies that were investigating cereal and how to market cereal, breakfast cereal. Anyway, John worked for me in that, but we had become friends before that. I mean, we were like brother close. So it was just serendipity that John and I ended up in a beautiful, really remarkable film together like this. John, and I do want to say this, John suffered, as you probably remember, a very serious accident while filming in Hong Kong about now 12, 14 years ago. A helicopter crashed, and almost every bone in John's body was broken. John is roughly my age, or was roughly my age. He survived the crash. I mean, everything, broken neck, broken arms, broken legs, broken ribs, truly. He survived the crash, but he was never the same. And he died probably about 10 or 11 years ago. So anyway, we really were brothers, in effect, John and I were. So it was very powerful to see him tonight.
Oh, yeah. I saw John on the set. On the set, John and I were talking. He had done Mercutio in New York.
Yes, he had.
And I had just finished Mercutio that year in Cornell, so we got along great. I didn't know that happened to him.
You didn't know about
Sorry
the
to hear
accident?
that. No.
Yeah. It was a Chuck Norris movie, by the way. It was filming in China.
Yeah, I did a Chuck Norris thing. I said, when do I hit him? He said, you don't hit Chuck. I played an ex-Marine, figured I'd get one in or something. And that's like in the movie, I was saying, at the very end, I said, look, the guy, he's about this tall. I know he's got knuckles, and I've been hit before, and I've never been, I didn't go down, and can I hit a bumper or something to go down?
He was really unhappy that he had to go down with the one shot. There were a lot of discussions about it. I just don't feel like it would do it.
Well, maybe I could hit a bumper. And then I walked over, and you and him were about the same height. And I looked at you guys, I'm like, I'm not winning this. And then you told me,
to film it.
You told me when the punch, he says, all right, I want you to look at him when he hits you, you look at him like, wow, you did it. And then like, wow, you at my own game? Well, that's pretty good.
That's exactly right. That is what happened.
I kind of saw that.
You thought, yeah. You pretty much thought I was crazy at that point. You're just like, all right, whatever.
When you thought I was crazy.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
In a good way.
Yeah, good answer. Yeah, good.
Philip, do you remember when you were approached about this picture?
Well, I remember reading for Philip, and I remember that they taped it, and I didn't know at the time, it was probably sent to Stephen somewhere along the way.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, he was really involved.
I don't know
Surprising.
if I had a
Never met him.
callback or just the one reading. And tape. I think it was just the one.
Yeah.
Sure. But I didn't hear for a long time. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Things were being sorted out, I guess, a few were in.
It just kept, it was all the Jerry Mitchell thing. The whole Jerry, there was a lot of
We went to New York
trauma.
for 5 days
Yep.
looking for everyone in New York.
Yep.
We came back. I remember the audition for Jerry Mitchell with Casey.
Yeah.
We were sitting chairs right across, and you said, I want you to stare a hole through him. Just stare a hole through him and just, get it. I said, all right. So I'm doing these lines, and I'm going like this, and I don't know, he may have nicked himself when he was shaving that morning, but all of a sudden he goes, and it starts bleeding, his chin starts bleeding, and you go, wow. I said, I told you to stare a hole, but come on. But I thought he was great. He could bleed right on cue.